There are a lot of versions of the Evil Eye tutorial floating around the web or in various books on Adobe Photoshop. I'd like to submit to you my take on this. This is just one way to do it, so if you have a better way, that's fine. This is just how I like to do it. Here I have an eyeball I've taken from photos.com. It looks like the eyes of a child or an eye of a child. Children actually render some pretty creepy photos if you're into that sort of thing. First thing I'm going to do is duplicate my background layer. Okay. I'm going to select the burn tool. I have the range in the options bar up here set to midtones and exposure to 35%. I'm going to reduce the size of my brush. I'm going to simply burn around the edges of the iris. Darken those up a bit. So it's almost black, not quite. Okay. I'm going to increase the size of the brush and apply the burn tool to the pupil. Take out any excess color. And then I'm going to run the burn tool around the eyelid and the edges of the eye just outside the lashes. And I'll keep applying that until I think it looks pretty sinister. Okay, almost like you're applying eyeshadow. What we're doing here is just using the color that's in the photo against itself by darkening it. Okay. Nice, easy strokes all the way around. If you played with the dodge and burn tools before, you know if you linger in one area or go over one area too many times, you can get a spotty look. And it's hard to recover from that, so you want to try to be as fluid as you can, not lingering on one spot or crossing over the same spot too many times. Let's take a look at the original eye and now the more sinister eye. Okay. Next, I'll use the dodge tool, and I can either select it in the toolbar and go straight to dodge tool, or if I don't want to do that, I can have the burn tool selected and hold down the Alt or Apple key, and that will automatically change the tool to the dodge tool. Okay. Now I just want to go around the inside of the iris. Maybe reduce the size of the brush again. Make it glow a little bit. Okay. And if I lightened up the pupil too much, I can simply go back to the burn tool with the original settings and darken that. Okay. Now I'll create a new layer. I'll set the blending mode to color. So all the way down here close to the bottom. I'll reduce the opacity of that layer to about 50%. Okay. Now you want a nice bright color in the foreground. Orange or a bright red or something like that works well. I'm going to stick with orange. If you can't quite see these numbers, my R is set to 222, G is to 144, and B is to 74, and I'll click OK. Select the paintbrush tool. I'll leave the mode to normal, the opacity to 100, flow to 100. And I want my brush size to be such that it'll fit within the iris, so I'm not overlapping the dark areas. Now I can simply cruise right around the iris here. Make it a little more evil. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and select the background copy layer again. Reselect the dodge tool. And right around the pupil, I'm going to brighten that up a little bit more. Doesn't have to be too much, but I'll give it kind of a sinister little, evil little glow. Very close to the pupil. Once you do that for a few times, you can go ahead, increase the brush size. Alright. And that's pretty fair. Okay. Now with the background copy still selected, I'm going to go to Filter, Render, Lighting Effects. Here I've selected a color to use for my light. It's kind of a fleshy brown tone. My R is set to 177, G is to 148, B is to 119. Click OK. And you can position this light from the bottom if you like. Matter of fact, in this instance, I think I prefer it down there. I'll click OK. Let me bring the image down. Now that's looking pretty creepy as it is right now, okay? But there's still more we can do to it. If this has a little too much color for you, you can go ahead with the background copy layer selected, but below the paint layer, go ahead and create a hue saturation adjustment layer. And simply reduce the saturation of the eyeball layer, okay? Now we're really starting to look a little creepy. Holding down Control or Command key and clicking on the paint layer, you can generate a selection of the area that you created the paint. Okay. And just above the paint layer, go ahead and create another hue saturation layer. Or go ahead and create another adjustment layer. This time, let's use brightness contrast. And increase the contrast a little bit, and maybe reduce the brightness a little bit. It's a little too much contrast for my taste. What this is going to do, though, is enrichen those colors, make them a little more unearthly. Okay. If you're not quite sure about the color, if you're not sure that's evil enough for you, you can certainly click that again so only the paint is selected. Create another adjustment layer. Hue saturation, color balance, any of these will work, at least for this example. And just mess with the hue a little bit. Okay. It's a nice turquoise. It's a little more red. Kind of like that little gold glow we got going on there. I'll click OK. As you can see up here along the top of the eye, there's some reflections. They've turned orange also. You can simply select the paint layer and the eraser tool. And I'll bump the opacity of the eraser up a little bit. And you can simply wipe that away. Okay. Go ahead and minimize the palette here and move it out of the way so we can take a better look. And zoom in. And there is my version of an evil eye. Yeah! I hope you enjoy. Take care.